வெல்கம் பேக். இது உங்கள் சங்கமம். தொடர்ந்து கார்த்திக்குடன் பேசலாம். So in early days you were like very fortunate, right? உங்களுக்கு அந்த அவ்வளோ பெரிய பெரிய வித்வாங்களை சந்திக்கக்கூடிய வாய்ப்பெல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு இருந்திருக்குது early stagesலே. So that's a great thing.
I mean it's a blessing. God's blessing is sometimes comes and puts you in the right places at the right time. That probably the good things that your parents or your grandparents have done, you get blessed with something like that. So I think I'm fortunate in that way.
Definitely.
I was able to get some.
I'm really happy that I make you talk so much. Usually உங்களோட பேசுறதுக்கே வாய்ப்பு கிடைக்காது, நீங்கள் அவ்வளோத்துக்கு பேச மாட்டீங்க. So it's good, you're giving us so many informations no one would usually research for. So that's a great thing.
Tell me if I'm talking too much. ஏன்னா எனக்கு மியூசிக்குள்ளே போயிட்டோன்னா எங்கே நிறுத்துறதுன்னு தெரியாது. அதான் பிரச்சனை. இட்ஸ் மை
எல்லாருக்குமே அதாவது ட்ரூ மியூசிஷியனுக்கு இருக்கிற
so I like to
பிரச்சனை அதுதான்.
So keep me under control. And so I definitely like to share, but it's so many things that come to my mind as you
கண்டிப்பா எல்லாருக்குமே தெரிஞ்சிருக்க வேண்டிய விஷயங்கள். இப்போ நீங்க சொல்ற நிறைய விஷயம் எனக்கு கூட தெரியாம இருந்திருக்கு. So it's very informative even for myself, and that's great. Another tricky question pretty much. So நீங்க வந்து Carnatic music படிச்சிருக்கீங்க, like for the flute, and at the same time Western classical way நீங்க படிச்சிருக்கீங்க. Can you explain probably even show us some connection between both kind of music? So கூடுதலா ஆக்கள் நினைக்கிறது வந்து வெஸ்டர்ன் மியூசிக்குக்கும் எங்களுடைய கர்நாடிக் மியூசிக்குக்கும் வந்து சம்பந்தம் கிடையாதுண்டு. But we both know that's not true. There's a lot of connections.
Correct.
So, even like you are a voice trainer too.
Right, yeah.
I'm a voice trainer too. So we know like from the connections. But நாங்க கர்நாடிக் என்ன ஸ்வராவளியில அதெல்லாம் பாடுறோம். அது மாதிரி தான் we have do re mi fa sol la ti and whatever. So it's a lot of connections are there.
Right.
So can you probably explain like இப்போ எங்களுக்கு ராகங்கள் இருக்கிற மாதிரி is there something similar in Western music?
Absolutely. Based on what I've seen so far is இப்போ நம்ம சைடில் civilization, the Tamil music and the Indian music அந்த சைடில் இசை எப்படி வளர்ந்துட்டு வந்ததோ அதே சமயத்தில் வெஸ்டர்ன் சைட்லையும் வளர்ந்துட்டு இருக்கு. Greek civilization, right? அந்த சைடில் வளர்ந்துட்டு இருக்கு. To the extent we have இப்போ நம்ம scales, overall it is about notes. Music is about notes. And notes சேர்த்துட்டு we have it in names called ragams. On the side we call them modes or scales. Modes were were the predecessors for scales. Scales என்றது அப்புறம் தான் வந்தது. Modes தான் இப்போ நம்ம சங்கராபரணம் நம்ம பண்றோம். அது வந்து the Ionian mode in Greek civilization, which became the major scale.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I think it would be great நீங்க இதை எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணும்போது எங்களுக்காக அதை வாசிச்சு காட்டினீங்கன்னா it would be very informative.
Sure, I will do it on both the Indian flute and the bamboo flute. In Hindustani we call it Bilawal. Bilawal சொல்றது தான் சங்கராபரணம். சங்கராபரணம் in the same swarasthanas. Of course the treatment of the notes, how you create a personality for the ragam is totally different in each side, because that was purely cultural, right? So அதுக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி தான் அந்த music developed. But if it's very interesting to note that these notes, that 7 notes சொன்னாலும் அதை multiply பண்ணீங்கன்னா you get 13 notes, right? Or 14 notes வருது. சா மேல் சாம் சேத்தா. இந்த notes தான் எல்லா இடத்துலையுமே இருக்கு. There's nothing different between each cultures. It's just that how we use those notes is different. So adala one of the most common one is the major scale. Idu vandu, as I said, can be used anywhere across. It's used in classical, jazz, rock, pop. எதையுமே விட்டு வைக்கல. அதே மாதிரி one more mode I want to talk about, which I think is the most powerful mode in the world, which everybody loves also. Mohanam. Mohanam, every person who learns Carnatic music would have heard about it.
Definitely.
Most of us know about it. And it's everybody thinks it's only in the Asian context la irukku. China la irukku, Japanese la irukku, Thai music la irukku. But you'll be surprised to know that this was called the Pythagorean scale in the Greek civilization, because அவர் அப்பவே வந்து அதுக்கு மேத்தமெட்டிக்கலா டிரைவ் பண்ணிட்டாரு. அதோட mathematical values for each frequency of the Mohanam Ragam.
Wow.
So the Greeks had developed an equivalent of our Mohana Ragam there.
Wow.
So
who came up with it first?
That somebody has to really find out on the period. And it's very interesting to see where it developed first, and whether it traveled from here to there or it was going in a parallel process, and it's still to be ironed out. I'm not sure about that.
End of the day, music is music.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. Really
exactly.
matter.
and you'll see the same pentatonic scale. It's called the major pentatonic scale, the Mohanam.
Yeah.
It's called boop in Hindustani. Boop Ali or boop solvang Hindustani la. Idhula vandu major pentatonic solrom. Irish music la vandu it's used a lot. A lot of the Irish jigs you'll see is basically using the major pentatonic scale. It's used a lot in Chinese music, Japanese music, ellathilime irukku. Different names they call it. That's all it is.
That's for sure.
But the Swarasthanam pathina, it's the same. Sa, re, tu, ga, tu, pa, da, tu, sa. So that is another way how we can look at music. It's all the same swarams, but in different continents it takes different shapes, and we make it suitable for our culture. So definitely, yes, I'll play the ragams and
whatever
and
you explained us right now.
I will play on the different instruments, and that would probably
that will help
a little bit more. Yeah,
definitely.
I'll do a version of boop on the North Indian flute, the bansuri, and then I will follow it up with a Western flute rendition as well on that. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I'll play boop. That's what we call Mohanam in Hindustani Ragam.
Okay.
So I'll play the boop on the bansuri. Bansuri is the North Indian flute, which is made from a type of reed, a cane, thinner bamboo, and it's the technique of the gamaks and everything changes. Although the scale is the same 5-note scale changes. So that's how we play the same scale in North Indian texture.
Before you put it away,
Yeah.
so I think I'm just gonna ask you a question. What I would say a normal person would ask. Right? So you have the bamboo flute. So how many holes are there, and can you explain about the flute a little?
Okay.
probably?
Basically,
It's the way in which it works.
it's a vibrating air column, right?
Okay.
So there's an air column here, and it vibrates, and the length of the air column varies with the placement of the fingers, right?
Okay.
So that's how it changes the physics of the whole thing. So you produce it by blowing. This is a transverse flute, so you blow across the hole, it splits it, sends the sound, and that vibrates the air column. That's what we're doing in the flute lab. Indian context la paakumbodhe flute rendu most important types. Adha sonna idu North Indian style la bansuri nu solluvom. Adukku vandu 6 holes for fingers and 1 blowing hole.
Okay.
Okay. And occasionally we have a hole at the back for tuning,
Okay.
just to adjust the tuning. This suits the North Indian tradition.
Okay.
But North Indian tradition la ippom konjam there is another style as well where they use 7 holes.
Okay.
Different garana. We have traditions.
Okay.
The different traditions. The one tradition they use the 7th hole one. I use the regular 6 hole because I already play the Carnatic style, which uses more number of holes. When we come to the Carnatic flute, I'll show you that.
How about the scales? So you have different scales for each flute, or is it you use one?
Pitch wise, unlike a veena or violin where you can tune everything to whatever Shruti you want.
Yeah.
By changing some strings and things too, right? So sometimes you have to change strings to get the lower or the higher octave.
Yeah.
Same violin or veena, we can do that. Whereas in the flute, because it's a naturally occurring instrument. Important thing is it's a naturally occurring instrument and taken by man, and it is cut into a size to resonate for a certain frequency and then tuned accordingly internally. So each placement in the holes potirukkiradhu it's all tuned, it's calculated.
Okay.
Based on why that sa or re or correct pesanumna the correct placement irukanum. So it's a natural instrument devoid of anything else, right? It's pure air and wood talking together. So that's why to me I think it's the most purest sound solla.
Yeah.
Your breath and that's all it's coming through. Unlike even in saxophone and other woodwind, we have a reed which vibrates.
Yeah.
Inga adallam kadiyadu. Pure air dhaan varudhu. So this is the purest of the sounds next to your voice. Voice air la dhaan varudhu. Adukku aduthathu flute only can produce that thing. But naturally namakku eppadi range fix aayidudho for humans or a level varaikum we can do. Adukapram that's why we sing in one shruti, right? If you sing long.
இப்போ இந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் எல்லாம் கூடுதலா இப்போ மியூசிக்கில் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் இல்லாத ஆக்கள் எல்லாருக்கும் ஈடுபாடு இல்லாத ஆக்களுக்கு வந்து தெரியாது, right? So they don't know it. They know the instruments. Some people don't know the names of the instruments. So it's good to know that, right?
Absolutely.
So that's why I was asking you these
No,
questions.
it's a very, very pertinent question. Definitely
I think
good to know.
if little kids are watching this, they can relate just to give them idea.
Exactly.
Cinema is what we do is
Exactly.
if we have a glass bottle,
Correct. We blow across,
we blow, right?
Produce
so
sound.
it's pretty much the same system, right?
Exactly. It's the same. You're vibrating the air column there. Idhedhaan pandrom idhula. It's just that and the number of holes is dependent on the way in which we handle it. Avladhaan. Western music we use slightly different way of closing and opening the holes. So we'll get to that. When we get to the Western flute, I'll play the same scale and explain to you. Yeah?
Thank you so much.
So let's take a look at the same scale played on the in the Western flute, right?
Okay.
So as you see, the Western flute is similar in terms of the basic shape, but it's got a lot of keys and basically to control the air column same way. Interesting part, there was a flute player called Boehm.
Okay.
And at the age of I think around 60, he was not happy with the flute available. நான் சொன்னேன் பாருங்க முதல்ல இந்த ebonyல பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க woodல பண்ணிருந்த western flutes. Some of them had holes, some of them had keys and all that. But he was not happy with the structure, intonation. He was not very clean.
Okay.
So at the age of 50 or 60, he decided to go and study physics at Oxford for 2 years to come and redesign the flute. And today, whatever flutes we are having in the world, the Western flutes are designed based on his specifications. He has derived up to the 5th decimal how much each of this hole has to be. The hole or the diameter, the length, the bore, every single aspect he did with so much of dedication after studying physics for 2 years at the age of 50 plus. Okay, see what a huge contribution. This is extended to all other woodwind. Whatever he did is what has been extended to clarinet, saxophone, oboe, ellathukkume they've used that similar principle. So it's a very interesting contribution to the world of music. In the prior to the Western flute like this, they had only recorders.
Yeah.
Right? Adukapram da idu recorders were the forefathers of that. But that didn't have any keys.
Yeah.
So that idu one advantage is it lets you to shift keys.
Yeah.
Because of the chromatic nature of Western music, it lets you shift keys. But tonality is a little more mixture of wood and metal kind of thing, right? So sort of, I'll just play the scale on this one. Grace is written to Mohanam.
Wow.
Right? So I played the same Mohanam, which has been used in a traditional song which has captured everybody's hearts, Amazing Grace.
Yeah, definitely.
So you saw how we use it in the same Mohanam that we have Ninnu
I guess
Kori.
a lot of our viewers recognize Amazing Grace for sure, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Now
now
they
you guys know it's in Mohanam.
Yeah, it is more. It's fascinating how the music has become global. எவ்வளோ வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி. At least now we should all become.
Definitely. Awesome. ஓகே நேயர்களே, இந்த நிகழ்ச்சி இன்றையோட வந்து முடிவடையல, மீண்டும் அடுத்த வாரம் தொடரும். ஸோ ப்ளீஸ் ஸ்டே டியூன்ட். இல்லை இனித்தான் சாப்பிடணும், இதை முடிச்சுட்டு தான் உங்களோட தான் சாப்பிட போகிறோம். ஏன் போய் வாங்குவோம். ஸ்பைஸ்
வாங்கிட்டு வந்து சமைக்க போறீங்களா? வாங்கிட்டு வந்து சமைச்ச அப்புறம் சாப்பிட போறோம்.
சமைச்சதை வாங்கினா
நாங்களும் பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்ட் சாப்பிட்டோம், அவ்வளோதான். இதுக்கு மேலே தான் போய் சாப்பிடணும்.